is a direct intersect between cultural leadership and business growth. Are you there to make an impact? Not just for your family, for yourself, that you live well, but for your community, for an association like this, for the country? Would everybody agree in this room that every human relationship, every business relationship, every political relationship depends on communication? We all agree on that? Okay, so what makes up communication? Bottom left point of the triangle. Language. So language, but is language enough? What's the divorce rate in the United States among people who speak the same language? Pretty high, right? 50%? Second, you'd think we'd learn, but second marriages have a higher divorce rate. So we don't, it's not just like, oh, I get this now. So language is not the total answer. Second point on the triangle, cultural management skill. Cultural management skill. Is Major League Baseball a business? That man changed an organization. There you go. Branch Rickey. Okay? And what did Branch Rickey do? He brought Jackie Robinson into Major League Baseball, right? Because there was a color barrier before that. By all accounts, Branch Rickey's initial desire was a business proposition, correct? He wasn't so interested in breaking the color barrier initially. He was interested in, this is good for business, right? So today, what I want to talk with you about is the intersect between cultural leadership and business growth. Because the bottom line is the bottom line, and you're in business, right? So we don't break down cultural barriers just to do it. It's not fun, it's not easy. That's the beauty of being a leader. This isn't for our workers. This isn't for our foremen. This is for leaders. We think the Major League Baseball owners back in, 1948 or something, when Jackie Robinson broke into the league, we don't need this. We're already successful. Stadiums are full, right? This guy did one of the most amazing things that ever happened in Major League Baseball as it relates to culture. Who is he? He managed Roberto Clemente in Pittsburgh. His name is Danny Murtaugh. And he did something absolutely astounding. First time it ever happened in Major League Baseball. In 1971, he put out an entire black Latino lineup. And Pittsburgh won against the Phillies that day, and that year, what'd they win? They won the World Series. You guys see the incredible talent that has been brought into this organization because of the inclusion of diversity? What would Major League Baseball be without that today? 27% of all Major League Baseball players today they're Latino. And it's growing. It's going to keep growing. Now, I know a little bit about the Latino culture. That's my particular expertise. And I want to say a few things, okay? Because most of you have Latinos working with you for you, right? Some of you have 80% Latino workforce. Working with a company right now, we're 3 tiers deep in training leadership as it relates to working with Hispanics. We're about 15 people deep in this training. They're 80% Latino workforce. And I said to them the other day, I said, we're 3 tiers deep in leadership. I've yet to see one Latino in leadership. This is future. It's the only growing demographic in this country. In fact, in the last 15 years, 50% of all population growth in this country has been Latino. You know why? Because the average non-Latino family in this country has 1.2 kids, and the average Latino family has 2.8. You know why that is? You guys ever heard that stereotype of the Latin lover? It's true. All right? By the way, my dad's Puerto Rican. My mother was from Kentucky. So I'm a Puerto Rican hillbilly. And so I got one grandmother going, now, Ricky. Ricky, I told you not to do that now, Ricky. Stop it. Ya, mira, Ricardito, pero por Dios, pero ¿qué tú haces? No hagas eso, muchacho. So I had to learn to manage multiple cultures. That's why I do what I do, because it just frustrated the heck out of me. That's sort of important over time. It doesn't happen immediately. You can't change your existing culture overnight. You may want to, but you can't. You can put some Band-Aids on it. You can make it tolerable, which is what most of us do. You can get by, but you can't change it quickly. Okay? It forms over time when a certain set of beliefs, values, and actions are consistent. Starts with the head, and then people learn to value or devalue, and then they act it out, right? Now, the acting out, if the belief system is positive, is good, right? But if the belief system is negative, then they still act out, right? Because culture is formed when we believe and we value and then we act. And by the way, that's how a stereotype gets formed. You guys realize that? Stereotypes happen because people did enough things enough times over enough time that people go, oh, that's the way they are. I was doing a conference for a group, another construction-related group, not in the roofing industry, in Baltimore a couple of years back. And about a week before, the director of the association calls me up and he says, hey, do you golf? And at the time I was golfing okay. And I said, yeah. He said, what's your handicap? I said, I don't know, 12. He says, well, hey, we're having a scramble the day before the conference. You want to come and play with me? I said, sure. So I got there. I didn't realize these guys were paying for money. And there was a couple $1,000s on the line. And this guy was a type A. He wanted to win, right? So we tee off, first hole, I had a birdie. It's good. He was happy, I was happy, everybody was happy. Second hole, I had par. And the third hole, I had a bogey. And he looks at me after I get my bogey and he says, you okay? It's nice, nothing big deal, you know, just upping his brother, you know? I said, yeah, I'm fine, man. Fourth hole, I double bogey. Because if you're an amateur golfer and you start to feel pressure, it just goes downhill. The guy's like, come on, man. You said you were good. I'm laying 5 in the fairway. And I'm in the fairway. I don't know, I take a 5-iron or something. I do my thing. Chichi Rodriguez, you know, who's Puerto Rican, by the way. So I'm doing my thing. And I hit the ball, and the ball goes, phew, hits the cart path. And it hits the cart path, and it bounces up like 15 feet, and goes off in the woods. God is my witness. The guy's standing out in the fairway. And he says, why in the blankety blank don't you go back to Puerto Rico and steal hubcaps? I composed myself. I said, you going to be at my conference tomorrow? He says, yeah. I said, probably a good thing. Whatever's inside of you, at some point, in some place, will come out. And in today's world that we live in, it has the power, because of the media, because of litigation, because of all kinds of factors around us, it has the power to destroy you. Leaders who properly identify, manage, and create, identify, manage, and create their work culture, enjoy a more productive and profitable business model. Now, the second thing we have to do to change the culture is we have to consider the needs of the subcultures. We've been working a lot recently with police departments, chiefs of police. I've got one chief of police in one particularly large place, and he wants to do everything pro-Latino right now because his demographic is 40% Latino in his jurisdiction. And I had to say to him on a consulting call the other day, slow down, because if you get everything good for the Latinos but everybody else gets put off, and that's not your goal. The goal is we've got to harmonize people. We've got to stop playing all these wedge types of politics we're going to placate to this or we're going to placate to this. It doesn't have to be that way. If we're wise and we're considerate of everything that's around us, we can create environments in which everyone can thrive. How does cultural leadership create business growth? Kind of the crux of the matter. How does it work? How does cultural leadership create business growth? Okay? Number one, it's easier to recruit like-minded talent. Right? Think about college football. You get some really good players go to one particular college, what happens? Other really good players want to go there. Right? Anybody know the Miami Heat? You had this collusion thing with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and stuff. Why? Because really good people want to be around other, right? So if you have a culture that's just zipping along, that's really healthy, non-toxic, guess what? You're going to attract what type of person? Yeah, you're going to attract like-minded people. You're going to attract healthy people. That's one of the benefits. That's why businesses grow. You develop a better team. Okay? Number 6. This is a big one. Sales increase, which is the conglomeration of all 5, but sales increase because happy people are passionate, right? Happy people are passionate about selling your organization. Okay, so sales increase. We cannot lead people to the highest levels until we know them at the deepest levels. I'm hoping today that we can start a movement in this industry of people who get it, of people who get serious about cultural leadership. Not just because we're a bunch of do-gooders, but because it's good for business.